So is my audio working okay? That's the question. And let's go ahead and move forward here after I get my audio up and running. Let's see. Okay, is my audio working? That's what my question right now. Yes, you hear me. Okay, thank you, Devin. All right, good. Audio's good. All right, so we have audio. Obviously, my video's not working, but you can see my screen. So good. I'm very happy now that we can move forward. All right, so I want to make sure the volume's low. Okay, I'll talk a little bit louder. I want to make sure that you guys post any questions. Screen share working. Oh, audio work. Okay, thank you. I want to make sure you guys post any questions you might have about the safe whale or any questions for me in general before the end of the broadcast. So make sure that you can do that. Now, they say that my audio um, is low, and also maybe take a few minutes for other people to get back in here. So let's see if I can turn my audio up. I don't think I can, um, but I will try. So I am speaking right into the microphone here. It says automatically adjust. Okay, let me turn the audio up. How does that work better? Can you guys hear me better now? Loud and clear. Okay, good. Good. All right, let's wait a couple minutes to get some people in here. I can kind of start talking about, well, the doors are currently open for the Premier Level 5 Pro. They're going to be open until tomorrow, Tuesday, uh, at midnight Pacific time. So now that I'm kind of really need to some filler time, I guess I'll talk about that for a minute until some people start coming in. But loud and clear, you guys can hear me. All right, let's get started here. I'm going to start with the earnings edge. What happened last week with the earnings edge? So you can see my screen here. I traded Costco. Wow, you can see the Costco here year to date. It's actually down $66. It was one of my nice winners, but Costco last week got into it and it just didn't move at all. With the earnings edge, you want to see things move. So um, on Costco, actually it lost 1,046 on that trade. So you can see here my since my 2022 update, I have 30 wins, 20 losses, 60% win rate. You can see here, what is my P&L? Let's take a look at that. My P&L on this account, 9830. 9830. Let's put that in there. 9830. And what is SPY trading? Let's see what SPY is trading. 598 or 569. 569.86. 569.86. Okay. So that's up pretty big from last week. 569.86. Yeah, I think we hit all time highs. Got closer, up 20% this year. And you can see overall how the earnings edge has done in 2022, 23, 24, underperforming here after the Costco recent loss, but still up 96% since 2022. And the market's up almost 20% since 2022. So what is that? 2.5 years up 20%. So uh, not bad, but not great as far as holding the S&P there compared to the earnings edge up 96% over that time period. All right, so that is the earnings edge. That's what happened last week. We'll see what happens next week. The Premier Level 5 Pro. How are we doing with that one? I can't show my full screen or it'll show my account number. I'll go ahead and refresh this page. You can see my account is at 30,914. I'm trading with IB. because the commissions are so high with Schwab. 3914, 3914. So you can see here comparing to the S&P. Remember on July 16th to kind of reset this to use the S&P variance. So I'm just strictly looking to outperform the S&P, and I am outperforming the S&P by about 2% since July 16th. What is that? About 2 months. So outperforming the S&P, and started with $30,000, so up around $914 there in a couple months. It's a very conservative trade plan. You're not going to blow, you're not going to make huge amount of money. You're not going to make, 40, 50% or anything, but it's very conservative. So that's another thing that I like about it, is that I'm not going to see heavy drawdowns. Now with this S&P variant, I could see a little heavier drawdowns than normal because I am kind of tracking the S&P and I'm holding with the S&P. So that is the Premier Level 5. Let's talk about the Safe Wheel. First, I will get the P&L. Bring this screen back up here. This should be my Safe Wheel account. 6059. So let's put that in the spreadsheet. 6059. 6059. 6059. All right, down. So down this year, um, it's still outperforming. Now, remember, the drawdowns are only about half of the S&P 500 over historically, so you can technically double this amount. But the S&P is catching up here lately. Um, so it had some interesting streaks with the Safe Wheel. Sometimes if it goes up and then down, and it kind of has to be like these perfect scenarios where it doesn't make money, and that's kind of happened here recently. But I think it'll just kind of snap back, and then it'll go back to the old way. So let's talk about it, about what I'm going to do next. I'm trading pins, Pinterest. That's what pins. So I got in pins, I think it was around 28. And then I sold a put and got to keep that premium. But my put hedge there suffered a little bit because of that, because I got into my put hedge and then the market went up. But I do have a couple questions about this put hedge to see if it's still viable or whether I need to exchange it. So the first thing is, do I own 200 shares? And the answer is no. Okay, so I don't need to do anything. Does the put hedge pay off? Don't need to worry about that. Second thing is, am I under 100 days? The answer is no. Don't need to do anything there. And then the third question is this 24 within 70% of the actual price? So let's take a look at that. The price. So is 24 within 70% of what's pins trading? 30.82, 30.82. It is 77%. So it is close enough, right? So if this was like 69 or lower, it wouldn't be close enough to give me my protection that I want, but it is close enough. So it does answer all three questions. So I will keep that intact. Next is my long call, just in case there's a crazy pins gets some type of buyout or something, and then it goes from $30 to $50. I have this long call that I pay $5 or $6 a week for, just to protect my put hedge. Put that on Friday, typically on Fridays. Okay, so I have my hedges in place. I have no positions in pins. So if I had positions, I'd look to sell a covered call. So I'm using the traditional wheel at this point. Right now, I have nothing, so I'm going to sell a put. So let's go in here. And I always like to sell in the nearest expiration. I'm going to put pins in here. The nearest expiration that expires this Friday, today being Monday. This is the one I want to sell because at the end of the week, I'll either be assigned or I'll keep all the premium. So it seems it's the most lucrative in terms of collecting premium to do it this way. And I want to sell a put, and I want to sell it out of the money for over 30, 31 cents. So it looks like I'm going to do the 30.50. So that is a little bit out of money, and I'll get around, I don't know, we'll see, 31, 32 cents. And I'm going to sell one. So as far as the position sizing, because I have between $5,000 and $10,000, I'm going to sell one. Uh, I'm going to do one of these and then 3 put hedges. So that's the sizing. If I had between 10 and 15,000, I would do 2 of these and 6 put hedges. But let's see if I can sell this. Maybe I can get 32 cents just for one. Okay, that filled right away. So you can see here. So that means I've collected $32, right? Always be collecting. That's what the safe wheel is, ABC. Always be collecting. I'm always collecting premium every week. And so, you know, sometimes a put hedge is losing some money and you're not necessarily coming out ahead every single cycle, but I'm always collecting premium. That's the goal. And that's one thing you can do with the safe wheel that you cannot do with the traditional wheel. The traditional wheel, you can get caught owning shares. The shares go down in value. You can't sell a covered call because if you do, you get called away of those shares at a lower cost basis and you'll take a loss. So here I'm always selling because I'm not worried about the uh, stock going down because I own 3 puts. So I'm protected to the downside and I'm always selling, always collecting premium. So that's what I did here. That is the trade for this week. I like a system where I can just come in once a week, make a trade, and not really have to look at the account if I don't want to for another week. That's another advantage to the safe wheel. All right. Uh, let's see. You guys can hear me okay? I'm looking through the comments. I see Avery says here, hit that like button. I'd appreciate that a lot if you hit the like button. Just kind of move your mouse down there, hit like. That would be very appreciated. Now, let's see if I have any questions about anything going on. I'm assuming you guys can still hear me. I hope you can. And I appreciate that you guys were able to pop back on when I was having technical difficulties and you came on through the notification bell. So be sure to hit that notification bell if you're interested in my live streams because we could, get in situations like we did today where it's not working and then I have to go live through the notification bell. Will first to say first and last. Well, I know that the shovel said first in the first live stream that didn't really go well. That I didn't have any audio. I didn't have any camera. You can see my camera's still not working, and yeah, there's something going on with the software on the back end there. Will not last. Any thoughts on the Fed lowering rates? Um, I don't think of it in terms of having any effect on my trading. Avery kind of disagrees with that. Um, I know my son is getting ready to buy a house, so I'm glad that they're going to lower interest rates. I mean, I'm just looking at it from a real estate point of view, not really a trading point of view. Obviously, we're trading at all-time highs or near all-time highs, which may or may not have to do with them raising interest rates. Fundamentally, I really don't know how to predict what the market's going to do. In the long term, yeah, it's going to go higher, but short term, fundamentally, I don't think that that's a strategy that works. Even if you can know what the interest rates are going to be, everybody else knows that too, and it's already kind of priced in. So I don't really have a overall takeaway that would be, I feel, significant in terms of how the interest rates affect my trading. They really don't, and I don't really pay attention to them in terms of how my trading is doing. I don't think, well, if they would have raised interest rate the other day, it would have affected my trading. I mean, sure, the market probably would have went down. That would have had some type of effect, but I'm not thinking about the interest rates. In other words, I don't think about them. Okay. Any other questions here before I start winding down? Will, tell your son to buy around Tampa, not like West Tampa. Get out of California for taxes. Yeah, I agree. The taxes are crazy here. It's just I always think about getting out of this state, especially where I live. It's not like I live on the coast or anything where it's nice weather. I mean, it's 105 degrees here in the summer. Will says slow morning. I guess you might be referring to the stream. Yeah, slow morning. The first stream had almost 50 views. Yeah, that's what happens. Sometimes you get into technical difficulties and you just roll with it, and that's fine too. I mean, that's just part of life, and we just move forward from there. Not a big deal. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions. Like I say, sometimes you guys throw questions out there at the end of the broadcast, so I always like to kind of give you a little bit of time to do that. But if there's no more questions, oh, here comes, let's see, ZEZ. Here's a question here. Do taxes affect your trading? Um, well, yeah, taxes always affect how much money I get to keep. But do I think about taxes when I'm trading? The only thing that I think about taxes when I'm trading is this actual safe wheel, where I actually moved stocks. Um, I moved from what was it, JD to pins. I would have went right back into JD, but for tax implications, I went into pins. So yes, that's the only time I think about taxes and trading is just basically because of the safe wheel. When I get out of one stock, I need to get into a different one because of that 30-day rule that if you get right back in, you can't take that loss. Because I think I had a loss on the not the options on JD, but on the actual stock. And so I need to take that loss on my taxes. And I won't be able to take that loss on my taxes if I get right back in within 30 days. So that's the only time I think about taxes when I'm trading. I don't think about it with the Earnings Edge. I don't think about it with the PL5 Pro, any of my trading systems, but the safe wheel. That's a good question, though. Okay, guys, I'm going to say this before parting. If the P&L is not real, what else are they trying to conceal? I'll be back next week, and I appreciate you guys. And thanks for hopping over.